Mandy Chan.
Testing.
Great. Thank you so much for coming. And we have a really packed schedule today, like really packed. So I will give a very quick overview of what is Actions on Google, Dialogflow, and then we will do a Codelab Level 1. And then I will introduce a new API we just announced at Google I/O this year. And then we'll do a self-paced Snowman Game tutorial. How many of you have used our Codelab 1 build an action before? Raise your hand. Not many. That's why I prepared the Codelab Level 1, and I will do the whole Codelab Level 1 together with you, all the setup and how to build your first actions. And then at the end, we have a feedback if we have time, and hopefully we have time because after you fill out the feedback form, I actually brought a Nest Hub with me, and once you fill out the form, one lucky attendee can get the Nest Hub and bring it home. So now, let's talk about what is Google Assistant. And over the past 1 year, the number of active users has increased by 4 times. And right now, if you build actions for the Google Assistant, your actions is available over 80 countries. And your users will be able to use your actions across 1 billion plus devices, not just the Google Home Mini, Smart Display, Android TV, Android Auto. Even when you're driving in the car, you are able to reach your users. So what is Google Assistant? Basically, it's a virtual assistant that helps you get things done. We like to say that it can help your everyday life more easy and productive, but today we're talking about fun. We are talking about how to build games to bring people together. How many of you have a Google Home at home right now? Great, so after today, you will learn how to do your first actions, and you can share with your friends and family your first game action. And Actions on Google is the platform that will allow the third-party developers like you guys to build actions for the Google Assistant. Action is like app, but we like to call actions. And then I mentioned earlier, right now, if you build actions, it allows you to reach your users across 1 billion plus devices, including the headphone too. I love the Bose headphone. So Dialogflow. Quick intro, what is Dialogflow? It helps you match the intent. Intent basically is when you talk to the Google Home Mini, what is the weather today? This is something you want the actions, the Google Assistant to help you. That is intent. And then entity. Entity basically is the user input. It can be any parameters. So in a very short sentence, this is Dialogflow is a platform that helps developers like, I don't have machine learning background, but Google, we have a really superpower machine learning behind the scene that help you parse the raw string unstructured data into structured representation. Behind the scene, it uses machine learning and natural language understanding. Now, those are key concepts that you will use in the Codelab 1. Intent is something that what the user says can map to an action that the Google Assistant can perform. Entities is the parameters that we can collect from the user. Dialogflow have many, many built-in entities, like colors, locations, user's name. Training phases basically is anything you can say to the assistant, and it can match the intent. So, for example, this phrase here, it's kind of cold outside, so I would like to order something, warm me up. What about hot soup, and I want it fast? This whole thing is the training phrases. And the intent is, I want something warm, like a hot soup, and I want it fast. Those things that highlight cold, warm, those temperature is entity. Hot soup is entity. Fast is also entity. So quick example of the major concept that I just explained in the previous slide. So now, high level, how does it work when you talk to the Google Assistant? Any devices, the 1 billion plus devices. You can say, hey, Google, talk to personal chef. Google Assistant receives that audio file and then change it from speech to text. It also does the ranking, which actions the device know to invoke. And then Dialogflow is the one that does all this machine learning behind the scene, extract the parameter from the user, knowing which tie to the backend, the function, like which function to trigger. So we recommend you to use GCP Google Cloud Platform, but of course you can use any other cloud service. And then at the end is just if you have an external database, then you can use the database. Now back to the below the flow, it's basically we trigger the backend functions, and then Dialogflow will be able to send the request back to the front, and the system do the speech, text to speech, and the user will hear the response. I just give a really quick intro about everything, but this is a summary. Dialogflow is the tool that you use to build your conversational experience. Firebase is backend. You can use that to build the fulfillment. And then Actions on Google is where you actually publish your actions. So today you learn to build your first actions, and you want to keep learning and playing with that. You will use Actions on Google a lot because we have a console. You don't need to have a device in order to test your action. You can actually test your action in the Actions on Google console. In Colab 1, you will see exactly how that looks like. So Colab Level 1. So go to that first bit.ly link and create your first Actions on Google project, and I will do this together with you. Can we show the demo? OK. The link. Do you still need the link? OK. So I said we have a really packed schedule, and I mean it. Let's see. Basically, it's bit.ly/dsc-colab-1. Let me see. I can do. Everyone got the links, like both links? I mean, you only need the first link because I'm doing the whole setup and creating a project together with you. So you only need the first link. Everyone get the first link, then I will move on to create a project. OK, great. And I have Taylor here. Taylor, can you wave your hand? So there's 2 Actions on Google team members here today. If you have questions, I will also come here and to help you, and as well as Taylor. So let's go to the Colab. So create a new project using the bit.ly link, which I will go there together to myself. DSC's Colab 1. Oops. Of course. Case sensitive. OK, thank you. So if I create a new project, I can see the invite code so that I know that you guys are here today creating the project together with me. So let's call testing. Whatever project name you want to call it. For me, it's just called testing, create project. Now, on this screen, we'll choose the conversational action, because right now, if you build a game for Google Assistant, it's one type of conversational action. So click this one. On the bottom, conversational, on the right bottom of the page. So is everyone still following along? I don't want to move too fast. So if you're on this page, we click Develop. And then we want to click Actions. What does that mean? Huh? Zoom. OK. OK, so once you get to this page, click Actions. We have to add the first action in order to link to Dialogflow. One more thing. When you create a project, wait, Taylor, can you maybe take a look? Oh, you got it? OK. So why we need to do this step? is to link back to Dialogflow. We need to use both actions on Google Console as well as the Dialogflow console. So now let's add our first action. We are building a custom intent, and we click build. At which point, if you fall behind, just raise your hand. Taylor, my coworker, is here to help. OK. Here, when I sign in the Dialogflow, make sure it's the same Gmail account. It has to be the same Gmail account when you build the action from the Dialogflow and also the actions on Google Console. So now it will bring you to, OK, what question do you have? I can maybe answer real quickly. I encourage you guys that ask your neighbors. If you are following along, help the one that maybe missed one step, help each other. So I want to move on, but can you help him maybe? Have you followed along? Yeah, great. Is everyone on this page? OK. So now we can say create, and it will does the magic. It will link to your actions project that you create from the actions on Google Console. My goal is to finish this in 15 minutes, and I think we can do that. Because this is a basic setup, and you can play around with it after today. The Snowman Game tutorial is what we really want you to try. It's a new tutorial we just launched like 4 months ago. So everyone get to this page? Great. So now we can go to default welcome intent. Let me just give a really brief. So when you create an agent, so from actions on Google Console to Dialogflow, here, each project, we call it an agent, a chatbot, an agent. When you click this page, it's automatically generated two intent. One is called default fallback, one is default welcome. Default welcome is basically the entry point when your user say, hey, Google, talk to your action name. It will just immediately invoke the welcome intent. Fallback intent, which is the fun part about conversational actions, you never know what your users will say. So this is the intent to catch that. Now, let's go to default welcome intent. And you can see the major concept is training phrases, what the user would say, and then the parameters, which is the entity, like what kind of input we want to capture from the user, and then test response. So this Codelab 1, high level, what this Codelab 1 is building, really. It will ask you, what is your favorite color? And then you capture the entity input, the color. And then in the backend fulfillment, we have custom logic. Basically, if my favorite color is green, we'll calculate the length of the string, which is 5. It will tell you my lucky number is 5. Very simple, but it touches on all the basic concept. How to capture user input, how to trigger your backend fulfillment code, your intent, which the intent linked to your backend function. So now, even right now with you didn't change anything. We didn't add anything. We didn't change anything. And if I go to Actions on Google, testing here, let's see. We go to Actions on Google Console and click Test. You should see this page, which is the Actions on Google Console I mentioned earlier. Even right now, you don't have a Google Home at home, you can still develop an action. If I say talk to my test app, I should see exactly, wait, I have two Dialogflow open. OK, you will see exactly, it say, hi, how are you doing? Or any response from this test response right now, even without us changing anything. And how it works is I can just say, talk to my test app.
All right, let's get the test version of my test app.
Greetings. How can I assist?
So this is just, we didn't change anything. We didn't add anything. Now we are going to change the default welcome intent. So here, I'm going to delete all the test response except like the last one, greeting, how can I, greeting, how can I assist? I'm just going to change greeting, DSC member, what's your favorite color? So change the verbiage, just that, and then I will hit save. You can see that at the right corner, this is where the Dialogflow, okay. Can you see this corner, green boxes? This is where the Dialogflow machine learning behind the scene is doing this intent and all this magic, parsing the natural language, and then they can match the intent. So let me zoom out again. So at this point, if I go back to Actions on Google Console, refresh the page, I just refresh the page. We should see the custom response that we just changed, like greeting DSC member, what's your favorite color? And I say, talk to my test app.
All right, getting the test version of my test app.
Greetings DSC members. What's your favorite color?
So now we are moving on to add a new intent. Remember earlier, this is a simple conversational action, just what's your favorite color? It tells you back what is your favorite what is your lucky number. So now we go to intent. It's time for us to create a new intent. So click create intent. Everyone's following along? Great. So here we are going to type a new intent called favorite color. So my coworker is coming. So favorite color, and you hit save. And we can go to training phrases. Training phrases is what would the user say. Previously, we changed the welcome intent and asked what's your favorite color. We always say, I like green, or you see that the green color is the entity. Dialogflow is smart enough that it knows that this is a color, so it highlights the entity, and we don't even need to do anything. It will just know that that's the color. We should add more training phrases so that the agent know what the user would say. You don't need to think of all the phrases because of the machine learning behind, but the more you give, the more accurate the intent matching is. So here I say my favorite color is black. So 2 training phrases, and then we have to go to the fulfillment, because this intent, we are going to use some custom logic to calculate the length of the color and then give back the lucky number. What we need to do is enable fulfillment. So we just need to toggle this to enable the webhook. So a quick recap what I've done so far. I have a new intent name, all lowercase. It has to be all lowercase because it's case sensitive. In the fulfillment code, when I create new intent, it also has to be all lowercase. So I have a new intent. I add some training phrases. Dialogflow smart enough. I don't need to do anything. It identified that's a color entity. And then on the bottom, I enable the fulfillment, and then I click save. And again, on the bottom, Dialogflow is doing the training, adding this new intent. It said training completed. Then I go to Actions on Google Console one more time and refresh the page. We are almost done with this Codelab one. So if I go to talk to my test app.
Okay, here's the test version of my test app.
Greetings DSC members. What's your favorite color?
And I say black.
My test app isn't responding right now. Try again soon.
Always like that. Oh, I know why, because I haven't added the code. So I have to add the code. So let me zoom out. I have one really important step. So what I've done so far is adding a new intent, and I enable the fulfillment. But where the hell is the fulfillment? Here on the left menu. So you have to click fulfillment. And then you have to enable an inline editor. This is where we have to go back to my presentation, and you can go get the link here. Oops. Oh, now you go to this link, bit.ly/Codelab-1. This is where we can copy and paste the fulfillment code from the Codelab. the second link here. bit.ly/Codelab-1. And then I'll go together here with you. This is where I can copy step 6. You see the Codelab, we are almost done. We are just copying the Codelab, the fulfillment code here. Grab the whole thing. Just copy. And then go back to the console. Here. You grab the code from the Codelab Level 1 Step 6, and here I delete the whole thing, paste the new code, and then I deploy it. Okay, I have to refresh this. Enable inline editor, delete this, paste the new code, and click deploy. Yeah. And again, we always give some signal to you if this is successfully deployed. In my case, green, I got the green, is good to go. Is everyone following along before I go to show the demo? Okay, so here, I will refresh. This time it should work.
All right, let's get the test version of my test app.
Greetings DSC members. What's your favorite color?
My test app isn't responding right now. Try again soon.
Oh, let me refresh. Sometimes it takes time for this to update it. But in case anything is... I have black. Let me see. It should be able to capture it, even if I just hit black. Yeah. Yeah, because of the entity, yeah. Did anyone maybe get to that point before me?
Sure, let's get the test version of my test app.
Greetings DSC members. What's your favorite color?
It's still deploying, but here it said deployed it earlier. Remember I saw the green successfully deployed it? It should be deployed already. Okay, now let's see. I like black.
My test app isn't responding right now. Try again soon.
Did anyone get to the end before me? Okay, so it's just me right now. So anyone else get to my lucky number is 5? Raise your hand. You're the only one. Wow, okay. You also got it? Okay. Oh, I don't understand why. Okay, enable, this is exactly the code, deploy. How many of you get to the end? My lucky number is. Still have a lot of people. Why the other people couldn't get to it? Is it the same error message that I got? Yes? It's not deploying, okay. Maybe because we have network. Okay, I will just try one more time. If it doesn't work, I'll move on to the presentation so we can talk about the new API about building games. I'm thinking it's just the network, so many people are trying to deploy it.
Sure, getting the test version of my test app.
Greetings DSC members. What's your favorite color? Your lucky number is 5.
So everyone should be able. It's just network. I think it's completely just the network, so many people trying to deploy. So let's move on to the presentation. The next part, I think you will be very excited, so pay attention. I'm going back to the presentation. Can we switch back to the presentation? OK. Now we finished Codelab 1. I have 30 minutes left. Let's talk about games on Google Assistant. For those of you still doing the Codelab 1, I encourage you to continue after that, because I'm going to give a presentation that you don't want to miss. Interactive Canvas. So this is a new API we just announced at Google I/O, which is 5 months ago. How many of you know HTML and JavaScript? Raise your hands. OK, the entire room, you know JavaScript and HTML mean that you can build games on Google Assistant. So this is a new API that basically just uses HTML and JavaScript that let you use the entire smart display. Before this Canvas API is available, developers have to use the built-in templates like carousel suggestion chips. But now with this API, you have the full control of the screen. Basically, it's like a web app. So what kind of games you can build? With the smart display now, you can build word games, which is the Snowman tutorial in a few minutes that we will be going over. Adventure games like detective game, persistent game, which is over time the user can come back to play. And for me, I have been building a game like Tamagotchi, a virtual pet. And how does this work? Very quick overview. When a user speaks to the device, like what I mentioned earlier, the device captures the audio file. It does the speech-to-text, send the request to Dialogflow. Dialogflow does the intent matching. We know what the function to call at the back end. And then we send a new type of response called HTML response. The purpose of this HTML response basically is to let the device know where to fetch the web page, as well as some other additional data so the screen knows what animation to show. In my virtual pet game scenario, which you'll see it in a few slides, you can actually see the energy bar, happiness bar. Through the HTML response, I'm able to send the data back and from server to client in order to render the energy or happiness level. So this is the web app that I was just talking. And all of this is now possible because of the Interactive Canvas API. And this API actually send requests to the server and also handle the HTML response. Basically, right now, you can build games, full screen experience on only smart displays and Android phones. And because there's Google Home Mini and speakers, developers actually need to check if that device supports Interactive Canvas. So the first line is just checking the service capability of that device. If it supports Interactive Canvas, that means you can build the games using the canvas. And like I mentioned earlier, the major purpose of HTML response is to let the device know where to render fetch the web page, and also sending additional data, like what kind of animation to play on the front end. Web app, we highly recommend you to use SPA to avoid any flickering on the device. And any popular framework like Angular, React, it works. This is the API that allows you to interface with your actions. And later on, when you do the Snowman tutorial, everything will make more sense to you. Now, I will jump to what is voice game? How is that different from some traditional games? What are some design principles you really need to pay attention? We want people to build voice game that is conversational. We don't want you to build command like jump, jump, turn left, turn right. So for that, my virtual pet game, if I have time, I will show you that, the demo of my game. We have some conversation back and forth. One challenge about voice game is people don't know what can I say to play the game. In that case, at Google I/O, I gave a talk together with a conversational designer. She has some really clever idea. For virtual pet, it's straightforward. You can feed and play with your pet. But in the beginning of the game, it's good to have some question and answer so that the player knows how to play the game. In my case, when you play the virtual pet, you go to a pet store. A pet store owner asks you, are you going to be able to feed your pet every day? Are you going to play with your pet every day? In a way, I'm teaching the player how to play the game. So we want it to be conversational. And this is my virtual pet game. This is the pet store. You come in. You can interact with the pet store owner, and they will ask you a couple of questions before you can adopt the pet. One thing about voice game on smart display is you don't really know what to touch on the screen. So I use Pixie, some animation, third-party HTML5 framework, whatever framework you prefer to make those animation. In my case, I just use some Pixie to do that glowing effects so that people know they can touch the broccoli, carrots, or the hamster ball to play with their pet. Optimize the display. Smart display, we have two sizes right now, 7 inches and 10 inches. This type of device usually plays in a living room or kitchen. People might not be like looking at the cell phone right in front of you. So we recommend as a primary test, 32 for the title. Secondary test size should be 24 for like any description on the smart display. Handle errors. Like I said earlier, when you first create the agent, you have a default fallback intent. This is challenging for voice apps, actions, but it's also the fun part because the user can say anything. For my game, I don't expect you to say, I love you. Like you talk to the hamster like, I love you. I don't have that intent, but I can add the new intent to give the player some Easter eggs. Whatever you can think of a user can say to your game, this is your opportunity to create some Easter eggs. Another thing about voice game, SSML. How many of you have heard about SSML? You are the only one. Of course, so it's great no one have heard about that because this is my favorite topic. I assume you know HTML, JavaScript, so you know CSS. So SSML is like HTML plus CSS, except CSS is giving style to the website. SSML is giving style to the voice. You can actually changing the pitch, the volume, the rate of Google Assistant voice. You can also add some pauses between, like make it speak really slow. And for dates like 3/6/63, how do the assistant know this is March 6th or June 3rd? So all this is because of SSML. You can do all kind of verbiage. Now, here's a special tag that created by Google Assistant engineering team. You can't find this on Amazon Alexa. It's a unique tag that we have. It allows you, I really enjoy using this tag because I feel like I'm an audio designer. I can layer the sound and whatever the Google Assistants say. With other platforms, you cannot do that. So let's play this. So this is like a Halloween kind of assistant game.
Come in. Welcome to the terrifying world of the imagination.
So you can hear the scary sound at the same time the assistant is speaking. So it's really fun to build voice game. And the way I like to describe, I started to build voice application with Alexa, and then I learned Google Assistant. The thing excited me the most is I feel like I can have the software talk back to me. You are the one who write the script what to talk back to the user. So it's super fun, new experience for the developers. And for me, this is like totally, completely my passion. I hope you can feel my energy and my passion. So sound library. So Google, we like open source. We have thousands of different sounds that you can use in your voice app. That's why I say I feel like I'm a sound or audio designer. I can use cartoon animals, anything that you want to use in your game. We highly recommend that you use some of this. Actions on Google Console. You should be familiar with it by now because we just finished the Codelab Level 1. And OK, I'm not going to switch my screen now. But you see that when you use the actions on Google Console, we have different services. So this first one is like phone, speaker, smart display. Even though you don't own any of those devices, you can just change the service. And here, if you click the audio tag, this is where you can actually change the SSML and really hear the whole sound and all this sound effect. Just click update and listen. So you can play with the entire audio or SSML of your actions. Now, Snowman tutorial. This one, I will not go over them with you, but it's a self-paced. The project is already on GitHub. You just clone the project, and you can deploy, and then you can play this game in the console. And right now, I have about 25 minutes for you guys to do this workshop. Taylor and I are here to help you. Again, go to the first link, create a project there, and then open the second link. You can follow the instructions in our documentation page. So the good thing about this is after this workshop, you can continue to play. Just go to that documentation page. You can build Snowman Game, which is like Hangman, but we don't want to say Hangman because kids. so Snowman is Hangman, word games. So go ahead, create a project there. Right now it's 11:11. So around 11:26, I will do the feedback, and we can see who is the lucky attendee who can bring the Nest Hub home after you finish the feedback form. That's it for now. Everyone get the link. Let me see what else do I have. OK. Yep, that's pretty much. So let's start the self-paced Snowman tutorial. Taylor and I are here to help you. This one I will not walk through because it's just so many different steps. Everything is already in the documentation page. OK, I am going to drink some water. Actually, we are at 11:21 now. The Snowman tutorial is meant to share with you. You can continue at home. I'm thinking, how many of you actually want to see my game, Virtual Pack? I can do a demo of my game. OK, great. So can we switch back to my laptop, and I can just do a really quick demo of my game? OK. I actually brought my hamster at Google I/O. It's first hamster attending Google I/O. You can find out the talk about my game, too. If you go to Actions on Google Twitter, you should be able to find, or if you follow me, you will find all the stuff about voice game. Now, let's go to demo. So if I say talk to my virtual pet.
Virtual pet game isn't responding right now.
Okay.
Try again soon.
This is not the right project, I believe. OK, I have to. Can we don't share my screen? I have to switch account. Yeah. Can we go back to presentation? Yeah. OK, can we switch back to my laptop? I'm about to show you the game now. OK, so if I go to here, and like I said earlier, you can choose different device. May I have your attention, please? So I'm going to show the game really quickly, since we have 2 minutes before we go to the feedback, and then I give out the device. Talk to Virtual Pet. This game is not published yet, and it's not open source yet, but I plan to open source it next month.
All right, getting the test version of Virtual Pet.
Welcome back.
So I want to restart the game.
OK, you restarted the game. Now play or feed your pet.
So this game, I mentioned, I have all these animations, so the user knows what to touch. Keep in mind that traditional web component, like drop-down menu, we don't recommend you use that. So just embed whatever object that you want the user to interact with in the scene itself. Like you don't see I have a button and you have a drop-down menu. Those type of thing, it won't work because people can say anything. And the advantage of voice is they can just say what they want immediately instead of clicking all this traditional web component. So if I click Carrot.
Larry is munching on the carrot.
You can hear some sound effect that I add.
And you earned a feed badge.
So this game,
Now,
I have different badges that you can earn, and this is level.
Here are all your badges.
This is only level 1, and I keep playing. It will change the pack.
Larry is getting fit. You earned a played badge. And you're moving to level 2. You can keep feeding or playing with Larry.
So I can also say something here. Broccoli.
Larry is enjoying some broccoli.
So even running in the wheel.
Larry is getting fit.
So there's different things that I can do, and I want to go to Firebase right now to kind of cheat and change my database to show you level 3. So my game is exactly using interactive canvas. I use the Pixie to do the animations. And behind the scenes, I use a database. And here, I can change the feed time to 2 times. I can change the play time to 2 times. So in order to move on level 3, you have to play and feed the pet 3 times. So I just cheated. Now, I'm also moving this to 3. OK, now go back to here. I should be able to move on to level 3 soon.
Awesome. Looks like Larry loves the broccoli. And you earned a fed 3 times.
And then, now I should move on to level 3.
Larry is burning calories by running in the ball.
Very, very simple
You
animation.
earned a played 3 times badge. And you just unlocked a new toy for Larry. Now, you can let Larry playing in the maze.
So it's
Larry looks very excited for the new toy.
Very simple, but you can see there's so many layers. I have to think about what scene. Right now, you only see the playing scene. You don't see the adoption part. I have another pet store scene. And in this scene, let me just cancel it. There's a lot of things that I gave the presentation earlier about the design principle. Everything in this game, I actually implement them. And I use the SSML. I use the sound library. It's really fun to build games. And I hope today, after this workshop, you continue with the Snowman. And if you have any questions, people ask me, where can they find me? I am always on Twitter. So if you follow me on Twitter, you can pay me, DM me for any questions. There's also a video of me talking about high level, what is introduction to interactive canvas.
Advocates,
Oops.
but
I have purple hair before. It's just fade away. Now let's do the survey, and then we can finish it off. Can we change back to the presentation slide? My Twitter handle is Mandy, MANDY, CHANNYC. I moved from New York to here, but I will insist on keeping NYC on my handle. So if we go to here, yep, the feedback form now. If you can fill out the feedback form, I can do the draw, and one person can bring the Nest Hub home. It's not a long survey. So if you can go to this link and fill out the survey, I will really appreciate that. And we have 2 minutes left. Only if you finish the survey form, I can then enter your name, and you can get the Nest Hub. OK, I have 68 people already fill out, 69. There's 100 people in the room, so you don't want to miss out. And we have 1 minute left.
Fill out those surveys. Fill them out. Let's go.
Yeah, if you want to win this, fill out, and I will just draw the lucky Okay, 95, I would just take all the name now and draw it. Let me get all the name first. Wow. Okay. We can share the screen so they know that it's fair. Can we share the screen? My laptop, yeah. So I am going to randomize it. So first person, A80, I don't know how to pronounce that name, but you find yourself the first one. Who is ADT? Okay. You are the winner. Okay, just on time. Well, thank you so much, and this is the winner. I want you guys to maybe tweet to me and share your experience with me on Twitter, and I like to retweet stuff too. So, thank you so much.
Give a very loud round of applause. That was fantastic. Thank you so much, Mandy. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. Follow her. Do it now. Engage with her. Yeah.